So, without any further delay, I would like to invite Mr. Lalith Veeratunga, Secretary to the President, to address the August gathering here.
Honorable Champika Ranawaka, the Minister for Power and Energy, Excellencies, Vice Chancellor to the Sir John Kotalawala Defence University, Major General Milinda Pires, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, foreign delegates, dignitaries, Dr. Rohan Gunaratna, presenters of papers, officers of the Tri-Services, and staff of the KDU. Well, I'm glad to be here. Once again, I was here last year as well at a very well-prepared symposium which discussed post-conflict development issues. My only worry today is that in an engineering session I'm the only non-engineer who is talking about engineering aspects. So I'll just try to see or how we could relate to the topic at hand. Interestingly, we're talking about the role of ICT in post-conflict development. 2 years from the end of conflict, so many things are happening, among which I believe the most important thing is the reconciliation approach of the government, coming to terms with all the issues we've had, the baggages we have carried. We now come to a situation where we're trying to build one nation, as many other speakers have elaborated on. Let me tell you, having suffered for 30 years, and once again, I'm grateful to you for making this country a country where we can move about freely, including the Honorable Minister, all of us, wherever we go, where you can go to any place in this beautiful land, and that's because of your hard work, your sacrifice. I must tell you that we are on our way towards achieving a sustained target of 8% per annum in our economic growth, and a US dollar 5,000 per capita income. I think those economists who spoke about it maybe would have elaborated on it, but just to tell you that it took over 40 long years for us just to get to the 1,000 mark, but I think it just took us 5 years just to get from $1,000 to $2,000 in terms of our country's per capita income. So we are now just emerging and in a very unique position as a country that has been able to grapple with terrorism with our own resources, not with any imported manpower or whatever, or mercenaries or whatever you may call. You have better language for this kind of activity. We did with our own resources, with our own brains, with our plans, with our men. So having done that, it's my belief that the post-conflict development process in Sri Lanka can well be handled by those who are in Sri Lanka, but we need the support of those who are abroad to maybe inject new ideas, inject new thoughts, and take Sri Lanka forward in the next maybe 5 years or so. For the government during the period, say last 3 decades, many places in the north and the east were inaccessible. So obviously there is a huge disparity in development if you look at it from education, if you look at it from health, certainly not to speak of ICT. I mean, ICT was at the very lowest level in the north and the east because most of these places were not accessible. Therefore, for the investor, there was a great uncertainty and insecurity to set up any plants or whatever, or to expand any existing businesses. The end of war, however, was to change all this. And the bleak outlook that we have had, fortunately, is withering away, and now we work towards peace and prosperity. If you look at some of the countries undergoing post-conflict development, Sri Lanka is unique in many ways. But the important thing to bear in mind is that far too many activities need to be done simultaneously. For instance, we have to do the relief work, we have to ensure there is resettlement, we have to ensure there is reconstruction, we have to ensure that there is economic revival, we have to ensure there is investment coming into the country, we have to ensure that there is political consensus building. We also have to build an inclusive society. That's probably the most important thing in the current development phase. We have to ensure that there is social cohesion. I think the previous session talked about it. We have democratic elections. We have elections in another few weeks. But we do have to ensure that we have enhanced public service delivery. This is very important. The government has no other place to go. Government has a monopoly in this whole issue of public services. People have to come to government. Say, you go to a shop and if you don't get your goods, you can go to another shop. But you can't do that with government. Government has a monopoly in many things. And I'm going to just talk about some of these unique things that we have been doing and we need to be doing in the future. For a country which is facing post-conflict development, all what I mentioned, from relief to reconstruction to social cohesion, these are all competing priorities. You can't place priority in one over the other. You have to do all these things simultaneously. That is a challenge. That is a huge challenge for a country which has limited resources. But my way of looking at it is that we have first-class human resources, and I'm going to talk about it as to what universities like the KDU could do in time to come. But we also need to be ensuring that information technology is used to serve this transformation. Information technology is a tool, but it has to be used to ensure that across the board we ensure equity, equality, and without any geographical discrimination, services are delivered. This is the beauty of ICT. The success of ICTs in post-conflict transition has been well demonstrated in several countries, including Cambodia. I myself had the opportunity to work in the times when the Cambodians were thrown out of Cambodia because of Khmer Rouge fighting. There was so much of infighting. So all these people came and landed in the borders of Thailand. The United Nations created what is called the UN Border Relief Operation. I was taken in as one of those experts to work on education and technical training. And I saw how these displaced persons had to grapple with day-to-day life. But incidentally, today, if you look at what they are doing, Cambodia is also the first country in the world where the number of mobile phones exceeded the number of fixed line phones immediately after the post-conflict. Of course, Sri Lanka has a fantastic history today. We have 18 million connections today for a 20 million population. It won't be long, maybe in another 2 to 3 years' time, there will be maybe 22 million connections for a 20 million population, because some people carry more than